There are three things I want to name off to you right now that I love: physical media, the Nintendo Switch, and indie games. And when the three come together, we get something truly amazing from companies like East Asia Soft, Limited Run Games, and Super Rare Games. In a previous video, we actually looked at the first 5 releases from Super Rare Games. In today's video, we're going to look at the next 5 releases from Super Rare Games, which would be releases number 6 through 10. And this is actually a really good stack of games with a lot of variety that I'm very excited to go over with you today. So be sure and hit that subscribe button if you have not done so already so that you can join the RetroWolf family. And let's take a look at releases number 6 through 10 from Super Rare Games. Release number 6 from Super Rare Games is Worms W.M.D. Weapons of Mass Destruction. Worms Weapons of Mass Destruction is a multiplayer battle game that can be played with 1 to 6 players both locally and online. The players are divided up into 2 teams of worms and you battle it out in various arenas and battlefields with a variety of different win conditions. Most of the time it's simply to eliminate all of the other worms on the opposing team using a variety of weapons, vehicles, and different tactics at your disposal. Worms W.M.D. has a multitude of game modes, including a single-player campaign, a single-player training mode, challenges, extra stages, and a vast array of different multiplayer modes, both online and locally, as I said, with up to 6 players. And you get 6 players together to play this game locally and you will have an absolute blast, absolute chaotic blast. The multiplayer matches can be tailored to your liking with a variety of different options to set that match exactly how you want it to be. You can even customize the types of weapons that appear in the match, and there are a lot of different weapons in this game, from grenades to shotguns to bazookas. A lot of vehicles that you can ride to take out the opposing team, such as tanks and helicopters and mechs. The game is just packed full of variety. It has a really unique art style that almost looks like sort of a hand-drawn, hand-painted art style. I really like it. It has a very quirky sense of humor, and there's a lot of unlockables in the game as well. As you play the campaign, you get experience, you level up, and you unlock new rewards as you play through the game, which includes new stages, cosmetics, all kinds of different stuff to unlock in the game. And there are over 60 weapons in the game, which is pretty insane. Just an absolute blast of a game. Even playing single player in the campaign, you'll have a lot of fun, but if you get a group of friends together, it's going to be absolute mayhem. Now, the packaging for Worms from Super Rare Games, I like the front cover. I really like the art that they chose for the game on the front cover. There's a lot going on, a lot to look at. The back cover does a good job at summarizing the game and gives you some nice screenshots to look at. The inside cover is actually pretty nice too. I like the big Worms logo in the middle with all the different images around that. The one thing I'm really disappointed about in this packaging is the instruction manual. It's not an instruction manual, it's simply a piece of paper folded in half with some artwork on it. That's a little bit disappointing. But other than that, Worms W.M.D. is a quality title on the Nintendo Switch, and if you have a group of friends together, you're going to have an absolute blast with this game, and I highly recommend checking it out. The 7th release from Super Rare Games is Snake Pass. And let me tell you something, this is a very unique and original game that you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. Snake Pass is a 3D platformer. However, it's a 3D platformer unlike any other 3D platformer you've ever played in your life, because in Snake Pass, you do not jump. You never jump in this game. As a matter of fact, you take on the role of a snake named Noodle, and snakes don't have feet, therefore you can't jump. In Snake Pass, you use a very unique control scheme that I felt like is very intuitive. It does take some getting used to, but it is very intuitive. Basically, you hold down the right trigger to make Noodle accelerate. As you're moving forward, you actually swivel the left stick left and right to make him kind of move in like a snake type movement, and it actually makes you go faster if you have a good rhythm at that. You hold down the A button to make Noodle lift his head, and you can then kind of make him go over small ledges or bamboo. you can make him wrap around bamboo to try to climb the bamboo. You can also hold down the left trigger to make him hug the object a little bit tighter so that you can have a little bit more fine control over your movement. And you use this really unique control scheme to make it through the various 3D physics-based stages, collecting a variety of collectibles. The goal in each stage is to collect up to 3 gems to unlock the gate that you can use to then progress to the next stage, but there are also other collectibles in the stage as well. I can't remember what the little blue orbs are, but there's a certain number of those in each stage to collect, and there's also 5 coins to try to collect in each stage, which adds a bit of replayability to the game. And again, I've never played a game with a control scheme like Snake Pass, and it does take some getting used to. You're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. I happen to love it, and once you get used to it, you'll find that it's very intuitive, and it actually works, and it actually feels pretty good. Also worth mentioning is the art style in this game. I really like it. It's very colorful and vibrant and crisp, and it just looks really good. The game just has a really happy atmosphere to it. Even the music, and the music is fantastic. It's actually done by the same guy that did the music on the Donkey Kong Country series, and he is an absolutely fantastic composer, and it really shows in this game, and you really kind of get that Donkey Kong Country music vibe as you play Snake Pass. Fantastic game. If you like the controls, I did, and I thought it was a really good, fun 3D platformer. Now let's talk about the Super Rare Games packaging for Snake Pass. Front cover looks good. I really like the image that they chose for that. It's very colorful, very vibrant, just like the game. Back cover again does a really good job of explaining the game with some really nice screenshots to go along with it. The inside cover art is a little lacking, leaves a little bit to be desired. I felt like it was a little boring. And then you have the booklet, which it's not too bad. It actually has several pages as opposed to just one like the last booklet, and it has a little bit of information about the game as well as some concept art. All in all, it's a fairly nice little booklet that comes with the game, but it's still not an instruction manual, but you know, it's better than nothing. So this is definitely not the best packaging from Super Rare Games, but it's not bad either. Next up is Super Rare Games release number 8, which is N++ Ultimate Edition. I'm actually going to read the back of the case on this one because it really summarizes the game very well. N++ is all about using your momentum to complete levels and get high scores, but in this sci-fi world, there's a slew of inadvertently homicidal enemy robots trying to prevent you from completing your goal. Through the handcrafted, not procedurally generated levels, you'll experience platforming at its most intense. Using only your fluid movement, you need to solve each level and get to the exit. The world's best platformer. 4,340 handcrafted levels, a local co-op mode with up to 4 players, local competitive mode with up to 4 players, a level editor with global level sharing, leaderboards and replays for every level, intense secret challenges to discover, 63 songs by top electronic artists, 119 unique color palettes, and more. So as you just heard from the back of the box, N++ is absolutely packed full of content, and if you like difficult platformers with micro levels like this, then you're going to love N++. For example, if you're a fan of Super Meat Boy, then you're really going to love N++. If you like games like Celeste, any game like that has some really intense and difficult platforming that requires absolute precision, you're going to be a fan of N++. And you pretty much have infinite levels because you can download levels that other players have made, kind of like Super Mario Maker. You download other players' levels and play them. And N++ does have a lot of different electronic songs in it that go along with the game. The music fits the game very well, and I do like, even though the graphics are very minimalistic and simplistic with the color palettes, they do change up the color palettes very often as you play through each set of levels. You'll get a different color palette, and it actually helps to keep the game a little bit fresh, in my opinion, even with its minimalistic, simple graphics, and give a nice variety to the very simple visuals in the game. And this game is hard as nails. It starts off fairly easy, but ramps up in difficulty the further along you get, to the point to where it just gets insanely difficult. But it does a really good job of kind of slowly easing you into the different mechanics as you start the game and progress through the campaign. And as it stated on the back of the box, there are just so many levels and so much content in this game. It's a great game if you like this sort of game, which I am a fan of this kind of game. As a matter of fact, Super Meat Boy was the game that got me into indie games. So I will always have a special place in my heart for games like this. And if you like this sort of game, I can't recommend it enough. Now, the packaging from Super Rare Games on N++ is decent. It's not mind-blowing. The front cover is pretty nice. I like that, pretty good. The back of the game only has 3 screenshots, but it does have a good summary of the game, which I read on camera. The inside cover art of the game is, you know, it's kind of, you know, I guess they're trying to match the style of the game. It's very, very simplistic and minimalistic, and in that aspect, I can appreciate it. It has a decent booklet that came with it. Actually, it's actually a manual. It gives you the story of the game. It shows the controls. Also has some artwork in there, and it also shows you a little bit of the enemies that you'll encounter in the game, as well as some of the level layouts, and a nice little thank you in the back. So very nice booklet on this one. My favorite thing about these packages is the booklet, because it brings back that nostalgic feeling of getting some type of booklet or manual with your games, which we don't really get that anymore. Next up is Super Rare Games release number 9, which is, I'm still not sure about the pronunciation of this game. Steredenn, binary stars, Steredenn. If you know the correct way to pronounce that word, let me know in the comments down below, so that in a future video, if I talk about this game again, I won't make a complete fool out of myself. For the remainder of this video, I'm just going to pronounce it Steredenn, because it just sounds better to me. In Steredenn binary stars, this is a horizontal roguelike shoot 'em up. I can honestly say I've never played a roguelike shmup before, and this game does a very, very good job at creating a roguelike shmup. Gonna quickly read through the back of the box here to give you a good idea of what the game is all about. Steredenn Binary Stars is an award-winning smash-up of a classic shmup and a roguelike carved in big, beautiful pixels with insane boss battles. Fly solo or co-op with a friend, fight off the worst scourges of space in a never-ending struggle for survival. Starid Binary Stars is the hugely expanded version of the acclaimed Steredenn. Enjoy infinite replayability and unforgiving gameplay through intense boss fights, almost randomly generated environments, twisted space events, and an arsenal of weapons. Enhance your ship during your flight with upgrades aplenty and forge your own path across the universe. This game is hard. Really hard. Like, I couldn't make it past the, I want to say the 4th boss kind of hard. So the structure of this game is you fly through a level fighting waves and waves of enemies. At the end you fight a boss. Once you beat that boss, you immediately start the next level, just like any other shmup. However, the unique thing about this game is, with it being a roguelike, you start off with just your basic ship with your basic weapons, and as you progress you'll find more weapons. Every time you beat a boss, you can unlock a new ability or a new power to attach to your ship to make yourself a little bit stronger when you progress into that next level. So just like any good roguelike, as you progress further and further in the game, you'll start to feel your ship getting stronger and stronger with the different attachments and abilities and equipment that you pick up. You can hold 2 different weapons in this game, which you swap between them, and there are a variety of different weapons to find, and depending on what weapons you find and what loadout you attach to your ship is of course going to determine how difficult the levels are. This is very much, I think, sort of a bullet hell type shooter, especially in the boss fights. But the boss fights do have a pattern, and if you learn the pattern, you'll get better and better at fighting the boss fights. And of course, depending on what weapons you have, the fight might be easier. I really like the pixel art graphics in this game. It really kind of reminds me of shooters from the SNES days, and it looks really nice. The music is awesome in this game. I love heavy metal and rock and roll, and this game has a heavy metal instrumental soundtrack in the background as you're playing through the levels, which helps to keep you pumped up as you're trying to fight for survival and make it to each boss in your run. Now, one thing that's really cool about this game is there are an absolute crap load of different ships to unlock as you progress through the game. I think there's something like 51 ships. Could be wrong on that, but it was a lot. And each ship has its own strengths and weaknesses, as well as its own special ability, which further adds to the replayability of the game. It does have a co-op mode, but I did not get a chance to try that out. And it has, I believe, like kind of a boss rush mode as well. So all in all, it's a pretty decent shmup. I had a good time with it, even though it was absolutely kicking my ass. And like I said, I've never seen a roguelike shmup before, so this is the first of its kind that I've seen. If you know of any other roguelike shmups, let me know in the comments down below. But Starid Binary Stars is a great game that I highly recommend that you check out. Now let's take a look at the packaging from Super Rare Games on this one. I like the front cover. Very nice. The 4 different pixelated ships with a really badass background with a giant couple of stars in the background. The back looks really good with the 4 screenshots. I like how they have everything laid out. The inside cover on this one is a little bit lacking. I don't really care too much for it. It's a little bit boring. And sadly, this one has another kind of sorry excuse for a manual. I'm still happy to have it, don't get me wrong, but it's literally just a piece of paper folded in half with the controls of the game. So I kind of wish it had a little bit more to it than that, but still better than nothing. Finally, we have Super Rare Games release number 10, which is the Adventure Pals Collector's Edition. I'm going to read the back of the box for you all here because it has some really good information about the game. The Adventure Pals is an action-packed platformer about friendship, exploration, and riding your giraffe. Mr. B is kidnapping old people and turning them into hot dogs. I didn't misread that. That's actually what it says. It's up to you and your best buddies to save the day. You'll leap, slash, and blast your way through increasingly madcap levels filled with traps, weird and wild enemies, treasure, and more. Along the way, you'll help a whale regain confidence, take a side in the battle between Toast and Dinosaur, travel to a legendary sunken city and decide the fate of a pirate election, explore the world on the back of your giraffe. Your travels take you across a huge land filled with zombie pirate cats, post-apocalyptic dinosaurs, and hot dogs that poop explosive mines. Again, I did not misread that. Explore the mystical forests of Treevale, hike the haunted craters of the moon, and dive into the depths of the ocean to find the lost city of Crablantis. Wow. That right there should tell you everything you need to know about this game. This game is awesome. I absolutely love this game. And the immediate thing that I see in this game, I don't know for sure, but I pretty much suspect that the creators of this game are huge fans of Adventure Time. Think about it. You're a boy with a sword, your companion is a giraffe, and you have a rock companion. That reminds me of Finn, Jake, and BMO from Adventure Time. Even the art style of the game is similar to Adventure Time, and the quirky sense of humor and just strangeness of the game is similar to Adventure Time, and it has adventure in the title. What other evidence do you need? So if you're a fan of Adventure Time, you're probably going to like this game. By the way, if you've never watched Adventure Time, watch Adventure Time. It's really good. The Adventure Pals can be played single player or co-op, and it is a 2D action-adventure side-scrolling platformer with also some RPG elements to it as well. In Adventure Time, you play through a variety of levels, interact with a variety of NPCs. Each level is divided into 5 different sections. Each section has a multitude of enemies to defeat, traps and obstacles to avoid, treasures to find. There's a cupcake collectible in each section, which you can then spend at a merchant that likes the cupcakes to unlock hats for your character, different cosmetics. There's a hidden sticker in each level that you will add to your sticker book. The platforming feels really good. You can wall jump. The combat is very basic, but it still feels really nice. You can just swing your sword in a combo. If an enemy's about to hit you, you'll see an arrow, move your stick in that direction, and you'll dodge the attack. You also have bombs you can use during combat. And as you progress through the game and kill enemies, you gain experience points and level up. When you level up, you get to pick a card. And that card will give you a permanent ability or buff that you'll have for the rest of the game that leads to a really nice character progression and that RPG element that I mentioned. You collect gold coins as you play, which you can then spend at a merchant to buy more healing potions, bombs, unlock new stickers, and other different power-ups that you can use throughout the game. The game is just really fun. The levels are really well designed with a lot of different branching paths you can take as you explore each section, with a lot of secrets to find. The platforming, as I said, feels really good. The combat is simple but fun. And what I like the most about this game is the enemy and NPC design and the art style of the game. It's so colorful and vibrant. It's not pixel art, it's almost kind of cartoony, kind of like the Adventure Time. It just looks really good, and I really love the character design and the very quirky sense of humor. This game has a really strange and quirky sense of humor that you'll see in both the character design, the art style, and the dialogue in the game. Just really good game, very fun, and if you've never played the Adventure Pals, I cannot recommend it enough. I also am a big fan of the packaging for this one from Super Rare Games. The front cover is absolutely beautiful, has a lot of the enemies and NPCs and characters on it. Very colorful, very vibrant, looks really nice. The back of the game gives you a good, funny description of the game as well as some nice screenshots. The inside cover also looks really nice with a really funny looking scene from the game with some really strange looking characters and some very strange looking stuff going on. And it also has a really nice manual called the Adventure Guide that gives you some really good information about the story of the game, some of the characters. It's got a developer Q&A in it, kind of tells you about the process behind the game. It has some concept art, some information about the different areas in the game, a sticker checklist, and a nice little credits page at the back. Really, really nice manual. So I'm very happy with the packaging of this game from Super Rare Games. They definitely did a good job on it, and it's a very, very high quality game. And there you have it, releases number 6 through 10 from Super Rare Games. I will leave a link to Super Rare Games website in the description down below. Make sure you go check them out and stay up to date on their releases if you're interested in picking any of these up for your own Switch collection. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure and hit that like button. It really helps out the channel a lot. It means a lot to me and I would greatly appreciate it. Let me know in the comments down below if you've played any of these 5 games and what you think about them. Which one of these is your favorite? Let me know that in the comments down below. And also let me know if you picked any of these up from Super Rare Games. If you're new to the channel or you're not new and you're not yet subscribed, hit that subscribe button so that you can join the RetroWolf family and stay up to date on future videos. I've got a lot of cool stuff coming that I think you all are going to enjoy. I'm going to go play the Adventure Pals some more because it's a really fun game. Until next time, folks, keep playing games and having a good time, and I will see you all in the next video.